Most Toyota owners change their engine oil religiously, every 5,000 miles, like clockwork. But when it comes to the transmission, they do absolutely nothing. They drive 100,000 miles, 150,000 miles, even 200,000 miles without ever touching the transmission fluid. And then one day, the transmission slips, shudders, or fails completely. The repair bill lands somewhere between $3,500 and $6,000. And the worst part is, it was completely preventable. For roughly $40 in fluid and about 30 minutes of attention, Toyota owners can add 100,000 miles or more to their transmission's life. This is not a gimmick. It is basic fluid science that Toyota engineers designed into the system from the beginning. The problem is, almost nobody does it. And the reason why will surprise you. Let us break it down. Why Toyota transmission fluid matters more than you think. Toyota automatic transmissions, whether it's the older U-Series like the U660E found in Camrys and Highlanders, or the newer direct shift units in Corollas and hybrids, all depend on one thing to survive: clean, thermally stable fluid. Toyota's automatic transmission fluid, known as ATFWS, standing for World Standard, does far more than just lubricate gears. It acts as a hydraulic medium that controls every shift. It cools internal components through circulation. It protects clutch packs from glazing and slipping. And it prevents the torque converter from building up heat deposits that destroy lockup performance. When that fluid breaks down, everything changes. Shifts get lazy. The transmission starts hunting between gears. Fuel economy drops. And internal wear accelerates silently. Most owners never feel anything wrong until the damage is already permanent. Toyota designed ATFWS to last longer than conventional fluids, but longer does not mean forever. The myth that destroyed 1 million transmissions. Here is where the confusion starts. Many Toyota owners believe their transmission fluid is lifetime fill. They heard it from a service advisor, read it online, or assumed that because nobody told them to change it, it must not need changing. This is one of the most expensive misunderstandings in automotive maintenance. There is no such thing as lifetime transmission fluid in a vehicle that generates heat, friction, and mechanical wear. What lifetime really means in the automotive industry is the fluid is expected to last through the warranty period. Once that warranty expires, the responsibility shifts to the owner. Toyota's own technical service documentation recommends inspecting and replacing ATFWS under what they call special operating conditions. And here is the part most people miss. Those special conditions include city driving, frequent stop-and-go traffic, short trips, towing, driving in hot climates, and hilly terrain. That covers nearly every Toyota driver in America. If you commute in traffic, drive in summer heat, or live anywhere that is not perfectly flat with no stop signs, your transmission fluid is degrading faster than you think. Fresh Toyota, a TFWS is a deep, translucent red. It flows smoothly, dissipates heat efficiently, and keeps internal components separated by a stable hydraulic film. Over time, heat cycles break down the base oil and additive package. The fluid darkens, thins out, and loses its ability to transfer hydraulic pressure cleanly. Clutch material, metal particles, and seal degradation byproducts contaminate the fluid and settle into the valve body. The valve body is the transmission's brain. The valve body controls every shift decision through tiny hydraulic passages. When those passages collect debris, shift timing becomes erratic. The transmission may flare between gears, meaning the engine revs up momentarily before the next gear engages. It may shudder during torque converter lockup, which often feels like driving over rumble strips at highway speed. These are not electronic problems. They are hydraulic problems caused by neglected fluid. By the time most owners notice these symptoms, the internal damage is already significant. Valve body replacement alone can cost over $1,000 in parts and labor. A full transmission rebuild starts at $3,500 and goes up quickly depending on the model. The $40 fix that changes everything. A drain and fill transmission fluid change on most Toyota models requires roughly 3 to 4 quarts of genuine Toyota ATFWS. At most auto parts stores or dealerships, that fluid runs between $8 and $12 per quart. Total fluid cost sits right around $30 to $40. The process itself is straightforward. Toyota transmissions have a drain plug on the bottom of the transmission pan, similar to an engine oil drain plug. Removing that plug allows roughly 3 to 4 quarts of old fluid to drain out by gravity. That represents about 30 to 40% of the total fluid volume. The remaining fluid stays in the torque converter and internal passages. Once drained, the plug is reinstalled with a new crush washer, and fresh Toyota ATFWS is added through the transmission dipstick tube or fill port, depending on the model. The fluid level is then checked with the engine running and the transmission cycled through all gears. That is the entire process. No flush machine, no pressure, no risk of disturbing old debris that a high-pressure flush can push into the valve body. This is exactly why Toyota recommends a simple drain and fill over a full flush. A gentle partial exchange protects the system while steadily replacing degraded fluid over time. If you made it this far, consider liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice. Why you should never use generic ATF in a Toyota. This is where cheap maintenance turns into expensive failure. Toyota ATFWS has a specific friction coefficient engineered to match Toyota clutch pack materials. Generic multi-vehicle ATF does not replicate this. Using the wrong fluid changes how clutch packs engage, and that directly alters shift feel, timing, and heat generation. Over thousands of miles, that mismatch causes accelerated clutch wear, inconsistent shift pressure, and premature torque converter shudder. Toyota transmissions are calibrated to work with ATFWS. The transmission control module expects a specific hydraulic response when it commands a shift. Wrong fluid viscosity or friction characteristics throw off that response. The result is a transmission that works harder than it should, runs hotter than it should, and wears faster than it should. A few dollars saved per quart can cost thousands in repairs. Genuine Toyota ATFWS is the only fluid that belongs inside a Toyota automatic transmission. The ideal drain and fill interval most owners miss. Toyota's general maintenance schedule lists transmission fluid inspection at 60,000 miles under normal conditions. But for the majority of real-world driving, the interval should be closer to every 30,000 to 40,000 miles. Here is the logic. Transmission fluid breaks down primarily through heat. Every time the fluid temperature exceeds 200 degrees Fahrenheit, its useful life shortens dramatically. Industry data shows that for every 20 degrees above the normal operating range, fluid life is cut roughly in half. City driving, towing, and aggressive acceleration all push fluid temperatures well beyond the normal window. At 30,000 to 40,000 mile intervals, a simple $40 drain and fill keeps the fluid chemistry within its protective range. Over 200,000 miles, that means roughly 5 to 6 fluid services. Total cost, under $250. Compare that to one transmission replacement at $5,000 or more. The math is not even close. Toyota engines routinely last 300,000 miles. The transmission should match that lifespan, and it can, but only if the fluid is maintained. The repeat method that cleans without risk. Because a single drain and fill only replaces about 1/3 of the total fluid volume, experienced Toyota owners use a repeat strategy. The process is simple. Perform a drain and fill, then drive normally for 500 to 1,000 miles. Then drain and fill again. After 2 or 3 cycles, roughly 70 to 80% of the old fluid has been replaced by fresh ATFWS. This gradual approach avoids the hydraulic shock that a full pressure flush can cause in a high-mileage transmission. Old transmissions that have never been serviced often have varnish and debris settled into stable positions. A sudden full flush can dislodge that material and push it into the valve body, causing immediate shift problems or complete failure. The repeat drain and fill method gently dilutes contaminated fluid while keeping debris settled. It is the safest way to bring a neglected transmission back to clean operating condition. Toyota technicians who specialize in high-mileage vehicles consistently recommend this approach over any single-step flush. How to check if your fluid is already past its limit. Toyota makes fluid inspection accessible on most models. Vehicles with a transmission dipstick allow owners to check fluid color, smell, and level without any tools. The dipstick is typically located near the back of the engine bay, often marked with a red or yellow handle. Pull it out with the engine running and the transmission in park on a level surface. Healthy fluid appears red or light amber and has a mild, slightly sweet smell. Fluid that has turned dark brown or black, smells burnt, or feels gritty between your fingers has already exceeded its effective life. At that point, the protective additives are depleted, and the fluid is actively contributing to wear instead of preventing it. On newer Toyota models without a dipstick, fluid level and condition are checked through a fill plug on the side of the transmission case. This requires the vehicle to be level and at operating temperature. If checking yourself is not practical, any independent Toyota specialist can inspect the fluid in minutes during a routine service visit. What happens when you actually follow this schedule? Toyota transmissions maintained with regular drain and fill services consistently reach 250,000 to 300,000 miles with original internal components. The valve body stays clean. The clutch packs retain their friction material. The torque converter operates without shudder, and shift quality remains smooth and predictable for the entire life of the vehicle. On the other hand, transmissions that never receive fluid service begin showing symptoms between 120,000 and 150,000 miles. The decline starts slowly with slightly delayed shifts, then progresses to slipping, flaring, harsh engagement, and eventually complete failure. The difference between these two outcomes is not luck. It is not the model year or the driving style. It is $40 and 30 minutes of basic maintenance, repeated a few times across the life of the car. Toyota built these transmissions to last. They engineered a fluid specifically for the task. They provided drain plugs and dipsticks to make the service accessible. The only missing piece is the owner following through. If you are enjoying this video, consider watching this one, where I share more secrets to outlast your Toyota transmission and engine for hundreds of thousands of miles.